Hello children, welcome to our English class. Today we will study about clauses. A clause is a group of words that has a subject and a predicate. For example, the choir is singing the national anthem. In this sentence, the first part, the choir, is the subject and the second part or the rest of the sentence is the predicate. As the sentence has a subject and a predicate, it is a clause. A sentence with only one clause is called a simple sentence. There are two types of clause, main clause and subordinate clause. The main clause is a clause that is independent and can make complete sense on its own. It is also called the principal clause. For example, he is a well-known doctor. This sentence has a subject he and a predicate is a well-known doctor. A subordinate clause is a clause that is dependent on another group of words or a part of sentence to make complete sense. It cannot stand on its own. For example, he is a doctor who is well known. In this sentence, the clause he is a doctor makes complete sense. Therefore, it is the principal or main clause. The words who is well known has a subject who and a predicate is well known. Hence, it is a clause. However, this part of the sentence is not complete in meaning. It is dependent on the first part, he is a doctor, to make complete sense. Therefore, it is called a subordinate clause. A subordinate clause can be classified into three types: noun clause, adjective clause, and adverb clause. Now let us study in detail about these three types of subordinate clause. Noun clause. The subordinate noun clause is a subordinate clause that functions as a noun in a sentence. For example, father wanted to know what gift I wanted for my birthday. We all doubted whether she was telling the truth. In these sentences, the highlighted parts are subordinate noun clauses. An easy identification for noun clauses is that they answer the question what. A noun clause can function in many ways. It can function as the subject of a verb. For example, what she says seems true. Here, the noun clause what she says is acting as the subject of the verb seems. It can function as the object of a verb. For example, I know that Mohini bought a new house. Here, the noun clause that Mohini bought a new house is acting as the object of the verb know. A noun clause functions as the object to a preposition. For example, don't judge her by how she looks. Here, how she looks is the noun clause and it is acting as the object to the preposition by. A noun clause functions as a subject complement. It is used after a linking verb. For example, the fact is that I do not know the answer. Here, the noun clause that I do not know the answer tells us more about the subject fact. A noun clause also functions as an element in opposition to a noun or pronoun. When a noun follows another noun and both nouns refers to the same person or thing, the second noun is said to be in opposition to the first. A noun clause doing the work of a noun is therefore in opposition to the noun it describes. For example, do you still believe that lie that it was Mohit who stole the money? Here in this sentence, the noun clause is in opposition to the noun lie. Adjective clause. The subordinate adjective clause is a subordinate clause that functions as an adjective in a sentence. It is also called a relative clause. For example, all the plays that Shakespeare wrote have some profound philosophy. He is the person who is known for sincerity and integrity of character. In these examples, the highlighted parts are subordinate adjective clauses. Adverb clause. The subordinate adverb clause is a subordinate clause that functions as an adverb in a sentence. For example, the flight was delayed because the weather was bad. She dressed as gorgeously as an actress. In these sentences, the highlighted parts are subordinate adverb clauses. Here is the list of the words denoting adverb clause. An adverb clause beginning with when, while, before, after, since, as soon as suggests time. In the same way, where, wherever suggests place, because, as, since suggest reason, so that suggest effect. Adverb clause beginning with so that suggests purpose. If, unless, provided that suggest condition. Although, even if, though suggest contrast. As if suggest manner. Than, as so, so as suggest comparison.
Now let us study about the relative clause. A relative clause describes the subject which could be either a person or a thing. An adjective clause is also called a relative clause. A relative clause generally begins with relative pronouns like who, which, that, whose, and whom, and relative adverbs like when and where.
We use who for people in place of he, she, they. For example, the man who met me last evening is my uncle. Here, who met me last evening is the relative clause, which is used only for things but that is used much more often. For example, I cannot find the box of sweets that or which I kept in the fridge. In the given example, the relative clause beginning with that or which has been used for the box of sweets, which is an item or thing, not a person. Here are some other uses of that. That is used after adjectives in superlative degree. For example, Satyajit Ray is one of the best film directors that India has produced. That is used after words like all, any, anything, nothing, etc. For example, she gave me all that she had. Whose is used in place of his, her, their. For example, the employer rejected some candidates whose applications were submitted late. One thing must be noted here, although whose is used for people, sometimes it can be used for things as well. Whom is used in place of him, her, them as the objective form of who. For example, the person whom we spoke to was very polite. This sentence can also be written by omitting whom. We can also say the person we spoke to was very polite. Where is used to refer to a place and it is used instead of there. For example, they went to the city where jobs were available. I prefer a place outside the city where there is much greenery. So, with this, we come to the end of our topic clause. Hope you all have understood well. Thank you.